decide to unclutch, disengage, unclutch from all thought process.
Then you don't associate them, and then they just become random series of thoughts which don't affect you. That's the whole idea. So initially you can use the word unclutch, and but after a little while you can just unclutch without using that word itself. You would see that. So just close your eyes. No.
How about now?
There's no specific time or place where you should do this. You can do it or place where you should do this. You can do it anytime. With that, I'll invite Dr. anytime. With that, I'll invite Dr. Aranke, and Dr. Sandeep and Dr. Nirmala to take on, take us on to the next session. Thank you.
I'm going to be showing how. So at this point, studies in depression, yoga, meditation have, kind of quantified the mood based on validated scales, looking at anxiety and depression. We have seen that yoga and meditation has a positive effect, but recently we're able to actually look at the brain structure itself and brain functioning. It can make a huge impact, and it can reduce the costs associated with current treatment model based on medications, therapy, which is expensive, medications have side effects. And so we can go on to the next slide. So many studies have been done on depression, looking actually at the brain structure. So we've seen that brain, like MRIs show that there's actually atrophy in the cingulate cortex. And even our ability to empathize with others are affected due to loss of brain cells in the cingulate cortex. Also, depression negatively impacts the basal ganglia, which is a part of the brain involved in pathways for reward, motivation, and feeling pleasure. And so we can go on to the next slide. So not only certain regions of the brain have higher volume or more gray matter or neurons. For example, the medial and superior frontal gyrus. This is an area responsible executive functioning. So in other words, planning activities, social cognition, which lead us to interact well with others, the presental and parahippocampal gyrus and hippocampus are very important for memory and handling your stress. These are enhanced in practitioners of yoga. Areas like the insula, superior temporal gyrus, occipital gyrus, and cerebellum are important for emotional awareness, processing of language and speech, as well as empathy. So being able to empathize with others and relate. Yoga practitioners have lower levels of fear or tendency for fear. And we can move on to the next slide. Now we can move on to what we found in practitioners of meditation. So they have been studied anterior cingulate striatum. These are also involved in emotional processing, some of these areas. Very interestingly, the prefrontal cortex is more active in practitioners of meditation. And one thing that happens when the prefrontal cortex is activated is an important brain chemical called glutamate is released. And this then sends a signal to another part of the brain called the hypothalamus to release beta endorphins. Maybe you've heard about endorphins. These are chemicals which give us the sense of a euphoria or bliss and may explain regulating our emotion and mood. At baseline, meditators have a higher level of serotonin, which you may have heard about. Serotonin is the brain chemical which is important for helping us to have a sense of well-being. And this level is reduced in people who are depressed. But at meditators at baseline have a higher level of serotonin. And it in fact further increases after a meditation session, which is very interesting. They also tend to have a lower level of norepinephrine. This is a brain chemical associated with anxiety. And they've been shown to have increased amounts of dopamine as well. There was a very interesting study they took up people who were depressed and put them through a 12-week program of yoga. And they measured their amount of anxiety and depression before and after, and looked at a brain chemical called GABA, which is very important for regulating our mood and reducing anxiety.
Word healthy gut microbiome. So before we talk about that, we should know what gut-brain axis is. So basically, the brain is gut-brain axis is. So basically, the brain is connected to the gut by a vagus nerve. So what it means is what happens in the gut by a vagus nerve. So what it means is what happens in the gut affects what happens in the brain. So the next slide affects what happens in the brain. So the next question comes is, how can we impact the gut in a best possible way? So, the whole food plant-based diet, which is called Sattvic diet, which basically comprises of reducing the anxiety and depression. So this is one impact. And the second impact it does is that it improves the bowel movements. So basically what it does is, since it is high in fiber, so people get relief from constipation, and so there is less of inflammation in the gut lining. So it reduces all the inflammatory bowel diseases and as well as the autoimmune diseases. So in a nutshell, basically the healthy microbiome.
And then a discussion, so you can go very quickly.
Oh. Are we waiting for the video?
We're waiting for you to quickly go over this slide.
Okay, yeah, so inflammation is higher in some people with depression, whole food.
Biomemory. So when the animals are killed, they leave a tremendous pain, suffering. They are not going to say, let the whole world be blissful and die. No. They leave so much of suffering and die that gets recorded in that muscle memory and biomemory. When you eat that, you will fall into depression for a small reason. Your husband late from the office for 5 minutes.
Information now is available showing that yoga and meditation actually expands parts of the brain which are vital for mental health. And the plant-based diet also improves that brain-gut chemistry to improve mental health. So there's various lifestyle practices in Hinduism, which Swamiji is reviving and promoting. Add with that?
Sure. I always practice whole food plant-based diet, but through Swamiji, I came to know about Neuroscientific, which is really a step above that. So essentially, and I found this to be amazingly powerful technique. I think, Dr. Shanti, you may have also gone through this, and you can add further.
Yes, yes, definitely. I have done the Nirasamyama a few times, and this was something that's completely new to me. Yes, very much. So I wished I had. I really didn't know about any of this before Swamiji. So
I think Dr. Shivaji had an experience that she maybe would like to share about Nirasamyama.
mhm.
Dr. Shivaji, did you have an experience you wanted to share?
I think you're muted, Ma. Dr. Shivaji, you're muted.
Sorry. So sorry about it. So it's other than the other benefits of what you were said, mental clarity, and you're more happier and more lighter and all that. What happened was I used to get every summer allergic reactions. So when I go to the garden, even the lawn, I'm really very bad allergic.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I know there's so much more to talk about. We're going to talk about Aushadas, Harataki, the very powerful detox herb that Swamiji has recommended for us. And then Nitya Yoga is a yoga that conceived by Swamiji that has 12 components, 12 aspects of yoga, which is very unique. And of course, other yogas are also part of this lifestyle. And so thank you so much, you guys, for this discussion. We could discuss so much longer. We've met some time constraints. So we're going to move on to the next session, which is a pranayama breathing exercise. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So simple technique is called Shitali pranayama, and references are given here. These are all scriptural references. You can search for them online. You can actually find them. Shitali pranayama is a technique to really cool down and de-stress. So it's a very easy technique. Sit up straight and roll your tongue and just put it outside of your mouth just a little bit, breathing in a little bit more deeper. Continue doing this. How many of you feel that deep cooling happening in your chest? You actually feel it there, right there. It's such an instantaneous. Just long to breathe out, then breathe in. So count breathing in. If you count breathing in 5 times, breathe out till the count of 10. For example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Close your left. If breathing out makes you feel stressed because I'm asking you to breathe out twice as long, you don't have to do it. Just breathe out like till the count of 6 or 7. That's also okay. Whatever makes you feel relaxed. Typically, breathing in the alternate nostril breathing actually makes you feel quite relaxed. And intensely, without stopping, like as long as possible, just hum. And then when your humming stops, take a quick breath, let the natural breath happen, and then start the humming again. So for example, it sounds like this. Now, while you're doing this, for a more intense hum, you can actually close your ears also. Like put your fingers on your earlobes and close them. How many of you could feel the humming reverberate inside your head even after the humming, you stop humming? Right? You would feel that humming inside your face and in your chest. So the more you practice it, if you do it for like 21 minutes, this humming is a very intense exercise. Great. So these are things you can practice pretty much anywhere. And these are all. Okay. Here I'm going to talk about sustainable mental health and AI. I have practiced, AI for a very long time, and I've applied AI to multiple different domains. And most recently, I've applied AI to education. And AI is an amazing area which is useful in mental health. Next slide. And the key challenge here is scale. Like sustainable mental health requires scale, and millions need help with anxiety, loneliness, and depression. But the primary challenge is mental health access to people. Go to the next slide. Mental health access to people. Go to the next slide. Today's AI is actually super powerful. It can be very conversational in asking questions and getting answers. In asking questions and getting answers, and it can be very personal. It can be personalized without storing It can be personalized without storing personal information. And if you have availability like access to a phone, a smartphone, you probably can get access to these services. It can be as easy as accessing mail or WhatsApp, for example, available on the screen. And it's a great, you have to sign, and it's a great, you have to sign in for you to get access. But it's an amazing resource that is available to everyone. This uses the entire spiritual resources of the world. Especially the teachings of Swamiji. Swamiji is essentially teaching the fundamentals of enlightenment science for living, like authenticity. Authenticity is living to the highest potential. Responsibility is feeling like everything in and around you is under your control. Being integrated is all about being integrated to your thoughts. Integrated is all about being integrated to your thoughts and actions. Enriching is about making sure others are in this state of enlightenment along with you. And completion is what I defined for enlightenment along with you. And completion is what I defined for, right? So it uses these principles to help walk through someone who thinks they are a bad mother because they're not. You think your sister should do what you want to do, right? And encourages open communication, right? And encourages open communication, understanding that you may not be able to spend too much time, but think about it as quality time, and also cultivating this idea of self-worth, which can lead to a challenge. So press play again, please. And the final example is about
Good evening, friends. I'm Dr. Prima Kuthanaraman, OBGYN urogynecologist and a pelvic surgeon from Los Angeles. We have been enjoying last more than an hour of learning so much about mental health, wellness, and holistic approaches. It's my turn to talk about women's mental health issues, incident causes, solutions, and understanding the unique challenges and holistic approaches. Reproductive health issues like polycystic ovary, endometriosis, infertility can lead to stress, anxiety, and depression. Gender-based violence, women are more likely to experience domestic violence, sexual assault, and emotional abuse. Social pressures and roles, women often face societal expectations like 55.8%. It's a pretty expensive program, spending about $104 billion US dollars a year and 217 million days of work lost. It's a big loss of work, and more women are seeking help but failed outcome. The treatment methods are making people dependent on medication, and more medication, it becomes medication, but the end results are not permanent cure, and it doesn't address the mental disorders, and usually it's only the symptom relief. The trillion treatments are not that effective. Let's learn from KAILASA. Not that effective. Let's learn from KAILASA a holistic approach with proven results by empowering women. So when we go into the depth of the empowering methods before, so let's read this very powerful verses from Manuvati Dharma Shastra, Hinduism, Bhagavan Nityananda Paramashivam, his presidential address on November 7th, 2021. Very powerful words about women. Women, by their very DNA, have the capacity and groundedness to hold an ecosystem or family or a team or a community together. So women have their own intuitive intelligence in our women here. So the political empowerment, Paramashiva declares in Atharva Veda, women should take part in the legislative chambers, put their views on forefront. So women hold 80% of leadership positions in KAILASA, mother worship. The matrilineal society that used to exist in ancient Hindu nations. It's very important to know in KAILASA, women are worshipped and revered and have a secure sexual harassment-free ecosystem due to its zero tolerance policy against sexual harassment and exploitation. And it creates the most safest environment for women on planet Earth. At social prominence, Swamiji has worked tirelessly for gender equality, not only in the economic society, but also in the spiritual and religious realm. The Sannyas Sampradaya, the monastic male child and women to empower them. And Nityananda's Women Foundation, it helps Indigenous women to become again financially, to get financial freedom and emotional support. EN Pregnancy is a great program where it supports pregnant women for having a painless delivery and a blissful birthing experience.
Energy can be given the word. Only feminine energy can be given the word, given the title sacred, because when it is awakened, it does so much in you. Unfortunately, see, if it was handed over to women, it would have been completely family-based civilization. So naturally, everybody would have had their basic needs.
Multi-dimensional level, and KAILASA is a model infrastructure, not only empowering women at all levels, and bringing the best within them, like leadership, stability, empowerment of women. We do like get powerful life, whatever you are, like wherever you are, to lead a very powerful, healthy life. So for all women, mothers, homemakers, anyone, everyone, get empowered with KAILASA ecosystem created by His Divine Holiness, Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Paramahamsa Nityananda. And it's a great coincidence that Navratri festival is coming. It's an annual Hindu festival. We celebrate Divine Mother energy for 9
listen to this sacred secret. Listen. Initially, when you put this idea into you, you will have too much of resistance, anger, guilt, fear, too many things coming out, and powerlessness. No, this is not for me. First of all, this may not be true. You will see me in the mirror, then all your patterns are complete. Till you see me in the mirror, do completion with the mirror. Your form will disappear and my form will appear there. Till then, sit in front of mirror and do completion. Understand? This is the initiation I am giving to all of you. Sit in front of mirror. Pen down all these patterns and fears and everything. Intensely chant Mahavagya and see the mirror and start reliving, chanting Mahavagya. And remember this powerful cognition, today's cognition. Pen down all the incompletions, fears, anger, guilt, impossibility, patterns which tells you, no, you need to be dependent internally, externally, other than Paramashiva. Pen down all of that. Whatever patterns tells you, you need to
talk about children and mental health issues.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Sailesh Patel. I'm a psychiatrist practicing in California. So, as adult and women, children also have unique challenges for mental health. And we have the next slide. So I have here some of the fact sheets from World Health Organization, peers, exploration of identity, and so forth. So can we have next slide? So based on this alarming number, we know that conventional approach have not been enough to address other consciousness-based approaches which were discussed earlier, practiced on a regular basis, including yoga, meditation, and sattvic diet. Swamiji had given details how this Hindu education system promotes freedom to explore and be creative, and not force children into strict curriculum, and nor evaluate them based on narrow rubrics. This mind-body consciousness-based education empowers children and helps them feel powerful. It encourages students to travel, discover, invent their own methodologies, and take leadership roles in visual, motor intelligence, and maturity. In second phase, recall phase, which is recall phase, students need to remember all the images of previously drawn without seeing them. The recall phase reflects students' visual recall intelligence. And the tests were performed on 75 students, and the results showed an average percentile age, and average intellectual age was 2.7 years ahead of chronological age. 83% of students were 1 to 6 years ahead of actual age, and 53% students were 2 to 6 years ahead. So that's really impressive numbers. So this is small studies, of course, sustainable development. Okay, I hand over to next speaker.
Thank you so much, Dr. Patel. And I'm going to very quickly do our conclusion. Thank you so much to everyone who's made it all the way through. After the conclusion, we're going to have a kriya, which we invite people to stay. It's a relaxation and stress reduction kriya. If you have to, and all the research we've published has been very remarkable, very outside of the ordinary findings. And we're very sure the more research we do, the more we're going to find things like this. So anyone who wants to collaborate, we'd love to talk to you. My email and Peter Bloomfield, my email, and Sri Mukta Ananda, his email as well. They're both posted at the bottom. Also, Policy's Mental Health, we invite you to contact us for collaboration for how to incorporate this approach to traditional education and for further research. And then, of course, the Shall I play the video, Mukta, or do you want to speak first?
Yes. Play the, I think, like I said before, kriya is a combination of yoga positions, yoga asanas, breathing techniques, and visualization. And Swamiji shared 108 kriyas for a variety of diseases and disorders to alleviate, use in conjunction with other approaches. And this video will introduce the kriyas and what do they mean and why they are so.
In different ways.
The human body has 7 circuits: blood circuit, circulatory system, nerve circuit, the nervous system, prana circuit, the respiratory system, digestive circuit, excretory circuit, reproductive circuit, and energy circuit. Of these circuits, the energy circuit is governed, reaches the different parts of the body through the 72,000 nadis or energy channels. Let's say, for instance, there is a block somewhere in the circuit of pipelines. Then what happens? There is no flow of water. Then you identify and correct the block. Even if the blockage is removed, water has to be pumped in Kundalini energy, just as the water gets pumped in to the pipeline once the block is removed. When the energy flow is re-established, energy starts flowing and the disease is healed.
Now, if your body is put in certain position, that energy blockages get removed. The energy circulation, the plumbing gets properly aligned. Acute route is aligned and energy is pumped. You are out of the disease. You are out of the disorder. You are free. These kriyas are not just ordinary asana, ordinary yoga postures, ordinary kumbhaka, ordinary pranayama. It is like two different chemicals. Separately, if you take, it may take 10 years for you to cure the disease. But mixed properly in certain combination. Fifth, chanting, external, the sound you are hearing. And sixth, now I am adding karanas, the different Shivatandava karanas. Seventh, I am adding the recent discoveries of modern day gymming and weightlifting. So all these 7 put together.
We learned how to do Nadi Shodhana, which is breathe in through one nostril, breathe out through the other nostril, breathe in through that nostril and breathe out. So that's one thing we learned. We're going to do that first. Then the second step is you sit in a special posture. Do we have the picture of that posture? There is a posture. I shared a picture yesterday. That's the posture. Peter will show the picture. That's the second step. In that posture, you just hum intensely. And the humming is something I already shared with you before. And so the third step is lie down, and in the bliss of the hum, the humming creates in close to your chest, and then do intense humming. That's for 7 minutes. And then finally, we leave you with the lying down and unclutching. And typically this combination of these 3, doing this before you go to sleep, is very, very powerful. It will de-stress your entire body very beautifully. Okay, let's start. can play the music too, Peter. Thanks. Now, lie down. With the intense, you will feel the intense humming, the coolness all over your body. Just lie down. Great. Thank you all. I really appreciate all of you for coming. Peter, I hand it over to you to wrap up.
Yes, thank you so much, Mukta, for your beautiful job. And thank you to everyone who made it this long. We really appreciate you coming. And again, just a last invitation for people to join the Paramashivaham program or contact us at Nityananda Hindu University about research collaborations, funding collaborations, anything that you want to collaborate with. And we really believe that this science will absolutely 100% help the UN achieve their